next Our next guests are from the Pitt Rainbow Alliance, so please join me in welcoming Hope K in Venus in Bird! So before we start, can we clarify which pronouns do you both go by?
I go by she, her, and I go by she, her, both in, drag, and out.
Very cool. So let's start right off the bat. What is Rainbow Alliance? What is it to you? What does it do for your community?
So the stereotypical elevator speech is that our mission is to serve the LGBTQIA plus undergraduate campus through our mission statement, which is advocacy, social opportunity, and education. So how we put that into action is twice a week we have events. One of the events is more social based, where people just come and hang out and do an activity, craft, whatever. And then we have our GM, which is more education based, where we explore a topic and we get a bunch of different viewpoints on that topic. And every semester we do really big events. So that made guests. 2 years ago we had our talks. And that was super exciting. Yeah. We had packed room. People were kind of mad that they couldn't get in because it's such a big deal.
Were you both there?
I was dead while I was still in high school, so missed out on that great opportunity. But last semester I got to meet Janet Hawk, and that was just no words.
It sounds like it provides a lot for Pitt. How old is the Rainbow Alliance at Pitt? Is it fairly new?
10 plus years.
10 plus years.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. What is drag? Can you explain to me drag? Because I've been learning about drag in preparation for today. I've been learning as much as I can about drag culture, and I think there are a lot of misconceptions about it, right?
So what drag is it's gender performance. What you're doing is you are dressing up as a gender or as a conglomeration of genders, and you're just going out and performing as it. You're having fun with it, you're taking it to the limits, you're just being wild and crazy.
That's awesome. It plays a big role in the LGBTQ community, right?
Yeah, because it serves as a place for us to perform. It's a huge part, a huge piece of bar culture and gay bars, but also it's, especially in Rainbow Alliance, we see that our drag shows are the times when we get the most student involvement, and most of the students aren't LGBT identifying.
Yeah.
And so it's a time when we get to showcase our identities and our fake identities.
Yeah.
And so it's this interactive performance and a time whenever everyone gets to see what we're about and what we can produce.
Totally. It's fantastic. Do you know a lot about the history or behind drag at all?
Well, drag's been along for a long time, just any sort of performing as like an opposite gender. It's been around like even back in Shakespeare's time. Any female characters in plays would be played by men, dressed as women. And so there's this long history of people dressing up as a gender they don't normally identify with to perform and act out.
But off of that, there's a lot of times whenever in recorded history, things get labeled as, and they were in drag. But you can never say that for certain, especially whenever you think about how language develops. And sometimes when that drag label gets put on, it's just because the language to describe a trans person didn't exist.
Right.
And so their identity through history, through colonization is being eradicated, and that in itself is a form of violence. And so at Rainbow Alliance, even though we want to celebrate drag because it's wonderful, we also want to affirm different identities.
Totally. So it's interesting because I think, whether you try drag once or you try it, fairly often, you're not always in drag, or you're transgender. I feel like there's a lot of, you can make a Venn diagram almost of like the risk of offending someone, or like say, I think there's a lot of crossover with those where like, maybe somebody who's transgender is offended by drag. I don't know. Is there a lot of that?
That does happen,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of transphobia within the drag community,
Wow.
because, I mean, performers of drag, especially in the 80s, RuPaul is one, got harassed, was a victim of violence,
Yeah.
and they got labeled with the T slur. And so that was their experience, and I don't want to minimize that, but then they reclaim something that is transphobic, and they use the T slur, and then that slur gets reapplied to trans people,
Yeah.
and that's violence. And so at Rainbow and in the LGBT community at large, the advocacy that we do and that we strive for is intersectional.
Yeah.
So you don't minimize somebody else's experiences by elevating your own. You only speak from your own.
Something you mentioned to me, we were talking last week, was how no one is an ally, right? Can you explain that?
So you're never truly an ally. Ally is something that you aspire to be. Because we're constantly educating ourselves about different experiences, my experiences are not Venus's experiences, are not
Right.
your experiences.
Right.
I can never know the way you see things, and just the same way that a gay white man can never see things the way that I see them. So we're constantly learning about other people's experiences, and we're constantly listening and becoming better allies, but never truly achieving that ideal.
Do you think Pitt has gotten better at doing so? Both of you. That's a question for both.
In the time I have been here, there have been quite a few changes in how Pitt deals with the LGBTQIA plus community within Pitt. Like, there's some like examples I can think of is becoming more accessible for trans students when it comes to bathrooms and housing and things like that. Like, we've made a lot of improvements just by talking to the administration and having them talk back to us, and just this constant dialogue between us that we can strive to always move forward.
That's fantastic. And I know we actually have similar issues in that we both, Rainbow and I think UPTV and Pitt, striving for a full-time advisor. So I actually want to say, if we ever want to share an advisor to get to that point, absolutely, we're down to do it. A big thing, I know Pittsburgh has gotten very big in drag culture, right? I mean, Venus, do you know about this, about the drag culture in Pittsburgh more specifically? I know about Sharon Needles.
Okay, so
You can explain all this.
I'm still what you call a baby queen, so I'm not out and about and like big in the scene yet. Most of the drag I do is at home, or I post to the internet. But in and around Pittsburgh, there is a vibrant drag culture. Different clubs have different types of drag. For example, like Balloon Club has a lot of really artistic performance art.
Not Pittsburgh, though. I feel like Pittsburgh is not the first place you would think of for drag culture in the land, right?
I think any city is where drag culture has sort of like taken hold.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh is one of the larger cities in the state in the area.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that a lot of people who look into drag just in the area, they would think, where can I go to get to drag? And I think Pittsburgh's a big city nearby. That's why that. Also has to do with the boroughs, I think. Just like the small communities within the community. I come from a small township outside of Pittsburgh, and we were able to form an alternative fashion community within like 20 miles from the city. And I think it's just about having a community within your own community, because that's what drag is. It's a subculture within the subculture, the LGBT culture, and then within that, drag culture.
It's so cool. It's really, really fascinating. I guess my question is, can anybody, first of all, can anybody get involved with Rainbow Alliance?
Yes, we're constantly accepting new members. Our office is in the WPU in room 611. Just stop by, we'll get you added to our social media, and always feel free to hang out there. We always have a officer on post, so we enforce safe space rules, so it's a super affirming place on campus to be. And we're always welcoming new people.
That's awesome. Wonderful. And my second question is, can anybody do drag? I mean, clearly, you spend a lot of time today getting dressed up and putting on your character. Can anybody do it?
Yeah, anyone, if they want to perform as any gender, whether it be their own or a different one, you just gotta get up and express yourself.
Moreover, I think everyone should at one point. So why don't we get you in drag?
Oh, I don't know.